In your district, there's been a struggle between a Mandarin immersion charter school and a local school district who says it's going to drain resources away. Do you think charter schools should have to be approved by the districts they're taking funds from, especially high-performance districts in your area?
That would be a discussion I'd like to further take on. As of now, I'm not 100% supportive of charter schools. I believe that we have a great educational system, and just based off of my district, it's mainly suburban districts, but we neighbor the urban cities. There's no 20-foot wall going around Hamilton Township, so the school needs, for a minority of the schools in Hamilton Township per se, have the same needs as the city of Trenton. I think we do need to look at how our resources and revenues are given back to the school districts, because they're not given back fairly. So a suburban school district like Hamilton, where it has upwards of 30–40% of their schools have these same inner city needs, aren't getting the financial resources, and that burden's put back onto the local property tax owner. It's a problem. Some school districts are getting nothing in our district, zero, but they still have to pay and put forth the state's unfunded mandates. These are problems, and we have to look at the way that we're funding our schools, because right now it's not working.
Well, that gets in. I'll come back to education, but that gets into another issue that's related to that. That just about everybody in the state agrees that our system of property taxes is broken. How should it be fixed?
I believe that if obviously revenue is always a quick fix, but we have to attract jobs. I mean, as we're talking about how we're going to property taxes and fund schools and assist municipalities. It's a broader discussion than just the legislature. There's been talks about having a constitutional convention. I believe that's the best way to hear from our constituents. I always say, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen twice as much as you speak. And this is an opportunity for the residents to say, hey, how can we better fund their schools, which is the majority of our local property taxes.
Getting back to education, Governor Christie wants to link tenure to test scores. Do you think this is wise?
No, it's not. A instructor, a teacher, doesn't get to handpick their students. So the challenges of a school district, the challenges of the area, of the economics, of what the ability the child has to learn, the resources that they have at home, aren't fair to the teacher. So when you're saying that the better scores that the student gets, the better the teacher should be, a football coach or a soccer coach gets to pick their team. The teacher doesn't get to pick their students.
What about not looking at test scores per se, but maybe looking at improvement over time? In other words, if a teacher has a difficult class, certainly their test scores are going to be low, but if over time those test scores improve, should that be part of the factor in terms of granting tenure?
That again, when you come back to your schoolwork and education doesn't stop at the school premises. It comes home. So not necessarily every household has the resources, has the ability to assist these kids, with studying and doing homework and the preparatory work. They may not have the availability to make this happen for them. This is where it comes into a problem. If we can financially give that school district the resources to assist the child with after school, whether it's tutoring or whatever it may be, then it may balance out the grounds a little bit better. But until everyone has a level playing field, it's really something that's I don't support.
When a teacher is tenured and they are dismissed, the current rules for appeal, are they okay, or should they be able to appeal their dismissal outside their school district where there might be some conflicts of interest?
I believe, when you're talking on the dismissal of an instructor, especially someone who has tenure, I mean, it's always termination with cause, and that person, whether it's should have their day to be able to stick up for themselves and say that that's not true. I'm on the labor side. I sat there and I fought, and I've in won cases and discuss issues when people are terminated. And sometimes people are rightfully so terminated, and sometimes they're unjustly just for personalities or ill feelings towards someone. So an individual that's in power can easily make it look like someone doesn't have, the ability or the resources, that they're not doing their job. So again, that's another discussion where if we're talking about tenure and we're talking about terminations of employees. How do we handle that? It's a case-by-case basis, and sometimes you may have to move them out of the district to get a fair decision.